Jesse, I don't have any minutes to approve on.
No, they'll be the next meeting, I'll have them all ready, yep.
Mike, can you check, see if we're on? Or half a minute?
You just have to turn that recorder on whenever you're ready.
Recorder's on.
Somebody was walking around the building. I just saw someone walking around the building. So there was there, Are you expecting someone?
Maybe they wanna sit in, it's okay. I was thinking about that the other day, or actually earlier today. Is there any reason why we can't have public here if they choose to come? If we had them staggered 6 feet around the back?
I don't know.
I don't see any reason why do you know any reason why we can't?
We can't what?
What are you guys doing in the city?
Have people come, people from outside.
We just had our first open meeting last Monday.
Yeah.
You're limiting how many people can be there. We are, if it's really a public hearing or something, we can move to our ice arena if we want to. I mean, that's the plan, that's the alternate plan. To maintain the spacing.
Right, that's
Right. We would move to the ice arena if we had to. But, we only had 3 or 4 people, including the flat earth guys show up, so.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's,
Yeah,
you don't put the chairs behind us or, close together, but you could go, we could go that way and every 6 feet you could have a chair. I mean, you could get 15 people in here.
Yep.
And I don't know why we couldn't or shouldn't. I think we should.
Yep.
Yeah, she just wants to come to the meeting and listen.
Absolutely.
Where are we at with that?
Absolutely.
We were just talking about that, putting some, chairs 6 feet apart.
Yep. I was a little up in the air about that, Sandy, because I wasn't sure when your quarantine was done. We'll talk about that.
Okay, we'll call the town board meeting to order of July 29th, and this is an adjourned meeting from July 22nd. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first thing, I'd like to welcome Sandy back. She's through her quarantine and tested negative and everything else, and glad everything is okay, and it's good to have you back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
And the next item is privilege of the floor for any public comments or anybody to talk. Anybody have anything they want to talk about? Okay?
I don't think it would be the time to talk about, the conversation we had with Rick Lopez this morning,
Which one?
about how he'd like to change how he goes from one piece of property, and then his other piece of property on Mud Lake, he'd like to modify how that goes, and cut across the Mud Lake Trail to get over to his property.
I think in order for us to talk about and have a discussion, that we need to have some pictures and description and some narrative from him, even though he had sent that to us, something like that. And I sent that to everybody a while ago. I didn't have that on the agenda tonight.
But just to kind of bring it
Maybe you just give us an update?
the existing way that he gets access to his property, that's on Mud Lake itself, he has an opening, and he gets on the Mud Lake Trail, goes down, I think he said 160 feet, and then he accesses his other piece of property. What he would like to do is modify that access point so it lines up directly across from his Mud Lake property.
Where he modifies the access point, is he modifying town land?
Well, yes, because the town owns the trail property. So he can do a lot of work on his own, obviously on his own property up to a certain point, and then it becomes town property, and he'd just like to get permission to be able to make that.
So so let's say this is his parcel on Route 37. The part on the Mud Lake, is it right across? Like, in other words,
Yeah.
if you were to leave his house and go right straight, you go across the town property and onto his Mud Lake property?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And it just involves cutting a lot of brush, probably some fill. It's not like he's gonna put a bulldozer or anything like that, at least that's not what he told me. But he's gonna be on town property, and just wants to make sure that that's okay.
Well, actually, I mean, you're talking about giving him permission to do work on town property.
Right.
Cutting trees, cutting brush and stuff like that, so obviously the first thing there is a liability issue.
Right.
What I'd like to, if he could put some, on his own property, if he could put some stakes on his property, on both sides of the town property, so that as the board has time, we could drive down there, walk the trail, and see what he's talking about, to be able to understand.
Okay, right.
It's just a thought.
Right, no, that's all good.
I think that makes a lot of
He just
sense.
he's asked me several times, and again reminded me this morning.
I mean, I'm a little worried about the motorized vehicles on the town property, just because I think everybody saw the stuff that was written in the last couple of weeks about the fact that there were signs of motorized vehicles on that trail, and the people that wanna have that for four-wheelers that cannot right now are very concerned that there's gonna be any type of motorized vehicle on that trail. Granted, right, we might be talking about it just crossing that trail now,
But he
but,
wants to eliminate this 160 feet.
you know.
Do we have a say in that?
I was gonna say, how did the land that the trail is on become town of Alexandria land? Is it two separate parcels that he owns, or is this all one parcel and we just happen to get a right of way through it?
They're separate parcels.
It's the old railroad bed.
Okay,
That's the trail, and the town has owned it for a long time. I don't know how they ended up with it, but.
And I believe his two parcels are the two pieces of land are separate parcels.
Right, right.
But he does own both of them.
What's that?
But he does own both of them.
so it sounds like he's trying to, end result be comply with it being just a walking trail, so that he doesn't, you know, 'cause he'll no longer be able to take his four-wheeler with a little wagon down 160 feet to access his land. You know, he wants to comply and go straight across, which at face value sounds very reasonable, but I do agree with Ronnie, it'd be, 'cause I've been thinking to myself as I've got these pictures, I really need to take a walk down that trail. And I've walked the other end of the trail, but that side I haven't, just so I can understand more visually, you know, what's going on and what we're getting ready to do.
So if you could put a couple of stakes with like that orange surveyor's tape,
Like, I don't, we can talk to him, we can go for a walk and show you.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd be very happy to show you what he'd like to do.
well, that way, he doesn't have to be there.
Yeah.
In the event, Bob, that we give him permission to do this, and he has to go in there with a chainsaw and has to go in there with some other things and cut and clear town property, do we need a release from him
So gonna have to be named as an additional insured on his policy of insurance. Okay, which doesn't cost anything, it's just a hassle with your insurance agent.
Okay. So Mike, if you'll contact him and ask him about putting some signage up or some posts up and show us where he wants to go and give us a little bit of time to go down there and take a look at it. Anything else? Everybody okay with that so far? Yeah. Okay. We have this late fee issue again, that we talked about it briefly with Mr. Catlin. The whole file is here on all of his bills and everything else. I think everybody's looked at the information on that. If any adjustment can be made on these late fees, it would be appreciated. Maybe during COVID-19 crisis, perhaps things got lost in the mail. Customer states he never received the April bills. I know they were all sent in one envelope, all of his bills, because I believe he has, this is a deal of all his bills, I believe he has about 11 accounts with us. All the following bills were paid in full, which was $7,200 some odd dollars.
These are the last 3 quarters worth of bills, and I've got stuff, even way back that he doesn't have a history of late fees. He's usually real good. He just owns a lot of properties and it kind of builds up.
I know that John brought up the last time in relation to this, the fact that Mr. Wardell had requested the same thing.
2 different animals, all right?
And Mr. Wardell's request on late fees to be waived were on property taxes, I think. Isn't that right, Jesse? Which really is, I don't think the town has the power to waive late fees on taxes.
At that point, because that was after our final payment date, so it was 2 total different animals, because it had already gone to the county, and we had no, at that point, it was out of our hands.
Yeah, and Nicole wrote all of us a letter on July 21st, sent it to all of us. Brent asked me to give you all a heads up on this matter. In tomorrow's agenda, there's a request from Mr. Catlin for credit of late fees, which is paid to the town of Alexandria for last quarter's water and sewer billing. As you know, the late fees were assessed July 6th, just before the new bills were created July 7th. He came in on July 15th with all of his bills, 11 accounts, and paid all of them in full. But he was complaining that he never received his April billing and has asked the board to please give him a break and credit of all late fees, totaling $392.11. He paid a total of $7,257.08. He normally pays his bills on time and has never asked for any special treatment when late fees were added. He simply pays them, but I truly believe that perhaps he didn't receive his bills. We have had several issues here with the mail. For instance, on May 29th, I mailed 3 different checks to National Grid for 6 accounts in 1 envelope. When I reconciled in June, those 3 checks still have not cleared the bank. Today I checked again because I was going to contact the bank to stop payment, and those 3 checks did clear. Where has that envelope been for 39 days? Do I believe it's possible that he never received his bill? Yes. Also, in his defense, he came in 9 days earlier, he would have not been assessed late. So per Brent's request, please think about this before tomorrow night's meeting so you can make a decision.
Anybody else got the same issue?
No, there's others that had late fees, but as this letter says, we didn't charge late fees up till July 7th when our bill went out. So people got, all those people who paid late, which that bill went out when, Mike?
This last quarter, the last reading was July 1st? Or are you talking about the previous quarter?
Previous one.
Okay, the previous would be April 1st.
Yeah, so they had until May 1st to pay it. Yep. And then after May 1st, it would be late and be assessed a late fee. From May 1st until July 7th, we didn't charge late fees due to COVID-19, as a lot of other municipalities and businesses had done.
But he's the only one in this billing cycle, this issue.
So he's 9 days past that date that we stopped.
So I think I understand this now. He paid for 2 quarters when he paid the $7,257.08.
Yep.
So if I read this right, he still hasn't found those 11 bills.
No.
So he brought the 11 bills for the July 1st billing in, which included the past due from the April billing.
I think so.
Okay. And the April one, if they brought it in, cause we had a grace period
Mhm.
that expired when, for the
July 7th
July 6th.
was our COVID-19 grace period.
Right. And that was for the April billing cycle.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So do Pat wanna have discussion on it further, or what's everybody's thoughts?
My biggest concern is to be consistent and,
Worry about past practice.
right,
I agree.
I could say that the quarter that ended, obviously not counting the quarter that ended July 1st, but the quarter that ended April 1st, he wasn't late. The quarter before that, he wasn't late. I can't say.
So it wasn't, so what you said was not right, what you were guessing. It was that April to July is
the April
timeframe?
bill that was due in April probably.
Well, if it went out April 1st, it was due May 1st. It was due
No.
30.
Yeah, the last quarter, that was April to July.
April to July, and then it was sent out. and
Well,
it-
the April to July, that bill went out in
Yeah,
July.
that's not due yet.
That's not due yet, yeah.
Okay, well, he had a late on that quarter, but the previous quarter, I'm looking at the stuff here, and I can see that there was none.
My impression was, when he came in on the 15th of July. From reading this, he paid his water bill that was generated on the 7th of July for the 1st of July, right? In other words, 1st of July is a cutoff date, right? The bills got generated on the 7th, and that's for April, May, and June. Those 3 months.
Yep, okay.
Okay, so it got generated on the 7th of July. He came in on the 15th, paid that bill, and the bill the quarter before that still apparently he has not received. That's the way I'm reading this.
I don't know,
Yes, that's how it had to have been.
Okay.
He would have been current to pay his current bill, and then he would have been in arrears by 3 months.
Right.
That's exactly how it had
Yeah.
done.
So as far as you can see, Mike, he always pays his bills, right?
I'm just,
We've
If
never had
everybody in
an
this
issue with
district
that
was just
one. He's
paid your bills, we wouldn't have any
always on
problem.
He's always on
He's
time.
always on
yeah,
time. I mean, he
this
calls.
is a printout of all the water and sewer for the, and there are a bunch of different things in here. Will be actual water usage, debt service, and late fees, if there are any.
Right.
And so, like, if you look at, say, I look at his account, if there's no late fee, it's not even zero, it won't even generate a line if there's no late fees, and there's no late fees.
I guess my concern is, I realize he pays his bill promptly, but is that gonna be a criteria going forward when somebody asks to be excused? We look at their past practice of paying as a determination?
I think this is a kind of interesting
Not
one.
only that, but one more thing too, is that we have not waived late fees before because they didn't get them in the
That's true.
mail. We've had numerous people come in front of us, and I say numerous, whether it's 2 or 3 or whatever, that have come in front of us that said they did not get the bill in the mail.
Didn't we have a conversation with somebody that the bill was going somewhere else, and it seems like the conversation we had as a
Yeah, we
group
can have a conversation on that.
was the fact that they should have expected to receive a bill,
Yeah.
and when they didn't receive the bill, why didn't they call to find out where the bill was?
Yes.
Wasn't that a conversation we had?
That's the Drew property that's on the agenda.
Well, no, that's legit, that's very true. I would have to agree with that.
So again,
Yeah.
to be consistent.
Yep. So I guess I need a motion, and then we can have further discussion. Somebody would like to make a motion.
I'll make the motion to credit his next bills for the $392.11.
You're waiving the late fee.
You're waiving the late.
I agree with that.
I would like to waive the late fee, so I'll make the motion to credit the $392.11 back to his account.
So we have a motion by Sandy, we have a second by John, and now we're having discussion, and I'd just like to say that I think that something that should be attached to that is that part of the reason that I think I'm gonna vote with this motion is because of the way we handled people during COVID-19, which is still going on. I know that there's an end date that's 9 days prior to that. But with the quarantining and everything that's going on, there's a lot of people that are scared to death to come out of their house. And he actually did come here, and I'm just looking to be careful of the past practice that we set with this by saying that I'm attaching this to the COVID-19 grace period that we did do.
So I understand what you're saying, so, because that's why I'd like to know the criteria that we're basing this on. So you're saying because of the COVID-19, basically, in his case, extending it like 9 days or whatever. Is that how you guys feel, or same thing
Because
with the COVID?
there were other people that paid late, but it was before the next billing cycle happened,
Yeah.
and we waived their late fees.
We waived everybody's late fees.
Everybody's late fees. It wasn't just one or two, but, I mean, there wasn't a lot of them, but we did waive them. I believe that, based off of what Jesse had said and Nicole had said, this is a community member that has, been very diligent at paying on time. And, we let other people that paid a week late or 2 weeks late get by this time. I think we should let him get by this time.
I think we need to base our decision.
Even differently than that is, he has 11 accounts. And to save money, and it's kind of smart on our, we put all his bills in one envelope, and he didn't get it. Had we sent out 11 envelopes, probably would have got one of them.
It might have been over the weight and might have got thrown out in the.
I understand, so
At the
Yeah,
post
but
office.
that hasn't held up with us before, because as Ronnie said earlier, when you don't get a bill, and you always get billed every 3 months, always within a couple of days.
If
When you don't get
that's
a
a
bill,
legitimate argument right there.
and you got 30 days to not get that bill, you'd think at some point during that 30 days, you'd make a phone call.
I will be honest with you, I get billed for water in Redwood, and if the bill doesn't come, I don't think of it. I mean, when it comes, I pay it, right?
Right.
I don't say, let me go back through and make sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but
yeah,
with taxes, it's a different story. In January, you know you're gonna get the taxes.
yeah,
But these bills come every 3 months, right?
yeah.
And
That's why I think what Sandy said and what I'm saying about the COVID-19 is an important factor to this decision. Any more discussion? All those in favor of Sandy's
The only thing I
motion?
would just need to be, like what Ronnie's saying, about what are the parameters, so if something like this happens in the future, what is it going to?
Maybe
And we are consistent.
the
that's all.
COVID-19 could be tagged into the motion.
Oh, no question. That's what I was saying when I said I would like to add to that motion,
Okay.
which is the same thing that Sandy just said later, is that the COVID-19 and the grace period that we said July 7th, but this guy was 9 days later, that I think that needs to be the
Part of the motion.
basis of our decision.
Okay.
If Jesse can just so note that in the minutes if this motion passes.
Okay.
That's all I ask. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying no. Okay. Passed. Okay. Plans for details of appointed positions. This was really just, set up to be a little bit of a workshop and a discussion, and we're just trying to get started on what we're thinking are the requirements and the job descriptions and the process that we're gonna go through in the event that this proposition 1 and 2 pass. I think everybody's got in front of them job descriptions for the highway superintendent and job descriptions for the town clerk. This information that you have in front of you was taken from the internet, from the State Highway Superintendent's Association, from the Association of Towns, and other sources on the internet. There's some things that aren't in here. We talked about length of the appointment. We talked about, evaluations, at the end of the year, every year. Then I think we've got a bunch of work to do on this myself. I think this is a starting point that maybe everybody could take a look at this and take this home with them and add or subtract things that pertain to us. There's 28 items on the town clerk, and there's two pages on the highway superintendent. That's probably 35 or 40 different, talking about work activities and procedures.
Sounds good to me.
So, if everybody agrees, we'll set up a work session to talk about this again. But in the meantime, I think everybody should make notes and put suggestions and different things that they see on these two pieces of paper and send them into myself and Nicole, and we'll put it all together like we have on some other things that we've worked on. And
Can you put this online
yep,
at the town website?
I think we should kind of look at this a little bit though and decide, suppose there's things on here that we don't want or we don't think are necessary.
Well, I think that if it's made very clear, this is a draft and a starting point.
Yep,
And because when we had the public forum, that's what people were asking, is
Yes.
what is gonna be in that? And this is going to be a long process, and I think they being the community, needs to have input also, and it shouldn't be at the very end when we think we've got it narrowed down, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out in the community that have experience in some of these things and could give good input.
yep. Well, and I agree that we need to show the public that this is, there's a lot to this process, and that we're starting now on almost the 1st of August, and the vote is the first week of November.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives us, 3 months to do that, to put a plan together, because as Sandy says, there was a lot of people that asked about a plan. If this happens, how are you gonna do it?
So our next regular meeting is the 19th. So we do a special,
At the 4th?
oh, excuse me, 4th, that's right, 26th.
We're at the first town to do this, so aren't we?
No,
So the other towns could, we can see what they've done.
Right,
right, but I because of the questions we had asked, we wanna make sure that we try to give people answers.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I've had people call me and ask me specific questions about it, I've had people ask me specifically, well, if it's an appointment, how long is the appointment for?
right.
We also, reading some of the editorials and some of the things that we've been provided that places that have done this, there's disciplinary measures is when somebody doesn't do what you want them to do, how do you handle this? Is it, rather than just plain termination and replace them, there's a process to all this stuff, And I think we have to discuss all that.
When do we do that?
Yeah.
When do we do that?
Well, I think that if everybody can get these papers and look at this and get something back to me, I know we're in the middle of summer and a week is a short period of time, so maybe we should say 2 weeks.
Maybe the 12th.
And if we wanna, have a work session on the 12th, rather than a meeting.
It'd be this would be the only thing on the agenda.
Yep. I mean, you tell me what you think.
Fine with me.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Because if you can get it online, people can put any
There'll be
input in
input.
before that, and,
Yep.
they can contact any one of us.
Same thing, 5 o'clock?
I'm fine with that.
I like 5 o'clock.
What was that date, Ron? You said the 12th?
Mm-hmm.
this, are we also going to include, specifics like 40 hours per week, X amount of days off, you know, how we build up leave time, vacation time? Is that also gonna be in here, or is that gonna be separate and more of a?
I think we have to include that, and my reason for that is that every employee in the town right now, except for the elected people, have a certain amount of vacation time, sick time, personal time, all that they have. This person is gonna be in an appointed position. I think we've gotta tell them up front how much vacation time they have. One of the questions that I've been asked quite a bit about is how much is the pay gonna be? And I think the pay has to be tied to qualifications and experience. Whatever everybody else thinks.
I would think civil service laws would apply, you know, for a lot, and that would answer a lot of those kind of questions.
Yeah. Yep. Sandy, your phone number's on that deal to call in, so if anybody calls or texts in or whatever, I mean, I know we're out of public concerns, but sometimes people send us stuff afterwards, so I wanna make sure everybody gets heard.
I haven't gotten
I'm
anything.
good too. So, I guess I need a motion to set that work session for August 12th at 5 o'clock at the town office
Take that motion.
to discuss this.
Yep.
Ron's made that motion,
I'll second it.
second by Sandy, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None opposed. Streetscape Committee meeting update. I think we went through that on the last
Yeah.
meeting, and you gave your discussion. Oh, I know, they had a conference call the other day. There was something that's happened in between. They had a conference call the other day, and the officials from the Department of State are allowing us to include Thompson Park. Because the question was, can we do improvements to Thompson Park with this grant? And Irene from the Department of State got a ruling that we could include Thompson Park.
Okay, cause there was a question, cause it was attached to like the downtown area.
Yep. So that's really the only update I have on that, which is why I put it on the agenda. And the milfoil treatment, Mud Lake,
Can we go back to that? I know they sent out an email to everybody, I think all of us were on it, that they're doing a meeting on Tuesday, and I know only 2 of us can go at a time. I was gonna hit decline.
Did you wanna go?
I don't wanna go, no.
to what?
To this next streetscape meeting is Tuesday.
Brent and I went to the last one, so I mean,
Well, if you had a good time, I don't wanna like stand in your way of going again.
I'll let you go, Ron, if you wanna go, or John.
that's what I said, you wanna go?
I can see where you're headed with that, I'm just, you said it's
But that's-
August 2nd?
It doesn't hurt to have some different minds in on this deal either.
What's the date, Sandy?
This Tuesday, I'm quite sure it's Tuesday coming up.
Okay, the 4th.
Yeah, 'cause I remember thinking, I have to go back to work.
Okay, you know what time it's at?
I think it's 2 o'clock.
Mike, do you have the invite?
I'm looking right now. And that was, I thought,
So 2 o'clock, and where is it being
You
held?
should have an email.
It's held here. The Department of State and
Oh, no,
EDR and one of the other.
13th.
What's that?
I see the 13th,
Oh, sorry.
August 13th at 2 o'clock.
Okay,
Okay, so it's the 13th, Ron.
yeah, well, they were jumping around with dates trying to get, yeah,
Where's this meeting?
here.
Here,
Yep, this is the 13th or 15th, what do you
It's
like?
a Thursday, the 13th.
yeah, August 13th at 2.
And what happens with this is the, Department of State and what are the other agencies? The EDR and I think there's somebody else, are not allowed to be at a public meeting, so they're all via
Remote, yeah.
conference call.
Yeah.
And then the town and the village are here, the town and village's or committee people that they put on are here.
So we use this,
Yes, well, no, we didn't use this, we used a phone with a speakerphone and a Bluetooth in the center of the room, and it really worked well. The town just bought a $30 Bluetooth speaker, and we set it on that table, and it worked excellent.
Okay.
Very clear.
So I'll go if you don't mind.
Oh. Don't.
So are you going for him, or somebody else wanna go for me? You too?
Yep.
Okay.
It's on the 13th, Thursday the 13th, 2 o'clock.
Put that on your smartphone, would you?
Better here.
Yeah.
Never looked at that, no point put it on there. Once a week.
Okay, are we good with that? So we'll go to number 4, the milfoil treatment. The milfoil treatment, I was at it this morning, it started at 9 o'clock at, Mud Lake, went real smoothly. DEC had 3 officials there, the application guy had 3 workers there, they had the application boat. This is a lot simpler method that we're using now because we're not using Renovate, we're using Priscillachlor, which is a different herbicide. And it just is a lot, in the Renovate, they put the chemical, which was in granular form, in these deals that you put grass seed on your lawn with, if you've ever seen. And they had them mounted in different places on the boat, and the boat went down this path, and the boat had a Lowrance, had a GPS system on it that showed the track, and he had already programmed in the track, as he did today too. So he knows he's exactly where he's supposed to be when he goes back and forth and does this. That's how they did it today. And this system, you mix it, there's a dilution factor that mixes with water and it gets held in these tanks. And he has 2 hoses that come out, go over the sides of the boat, and he's got them hanging on hangers. And he has an application meter rate. He's monitoring the rate was right there, and he just drives at a certain speed and follows these paths, and that's how he applied it. It took him about 2.5 to 3 hours today to do it. And it all went smoothly. The DEC was there. The DEC looked at all of our signs. They looked at everything, and they told us everything was fine. We tried to make sure that we had, had them check out the signs and approve everything before we had this happen because of the situation we had last year. And it was done well. There's some good volunteers that have helped a lot. Pam Dupree and Rick Lopez were the 2 ones that have done the most amount of work as far as volunteers.
So mud flows into Butterfield?
Mud flows into Butterfield, and the flow is totally dry.
Oh, there
is no flow.
Nothing going over that spillway.
Nothing. It's dry. And we took a precautionary deal today because of our situation with somebody in Butterfield that had notified the Attorney General's office. And the Attorney General's office called me, and she wanted to know the date and the time of this was taking place. So I gave her that information, and she was very happy to get it, and that was a requirement we had from them. And we're going to test the mouth of Butterfield. We're going to test it at 24 hours, and we're going to test it at 72 hours, which is all we are required to do for Mud Lake. And it's going to cost us an extra $125 a test. But we felt that it would be a smart thing to do because of the situation we had a year ago with a problem.
But there's no physical flow anyway.
No.
They picked this time of year for that? Is that considered a big positive?
Yeah, because one of the things that would have definitely hampered this or possibly even stopped it is if we had had a tremendous amount of rain in the last week or 2 and there had been a flow. That would make our whole area that we have to patrol, that we have to test, that we have to put buoys on, that we have to put signage on, that everything that the DEC monitored, that would have changed our whole area.
And does anybody use Mud Lake as a source of water? Or is everybody around Mud Lake on a well?
I don't think anybody drinks water on Mud Lake.
What's that?
I doubt anybody drinks water on Mud Lake.
Okay,
There's
just
about
curious.
half a dozen or 10 places on there, but I don't think they're in the water district.
Anyway, they know about the
Yeah, and actually the Mud Lake Association is very involved in this whole process.
okay.
Yeah.
Very involved. Yep. And Goose Bay is scheduled for next week, but it's not scheduled for a date because we're waiting for the last step of a permit from the DEC, and I did get an email today that she thought it would be going out tomorrow and be approved, but they haven't picked the date for next week yet. As soon as they do, we'll post it on our website, and we'll contact the appropriate agencies and people that we have to contact. Any questions on that? Number 5, the propane tanks. Today, we sent the information this morning to North Shore on our generators, and they have the plates that are on each generator that talks about the wattage and the horsepower and everything else that's going on there. So they have yet to get back to us with the consumption of propane for us to try to make a decision on the gallons of tanks.
We ever find out how many hours they should be?
We have no regulation that we've been able to find of how many hours we should have a supply of propane for.
There's 2 tanks out there right now, right?
Yeah.
And they're twinned together or whatever?
I think one, I
Yeah,
think
they are
one,
connected.
Yeah.
yeah.
There are 2 generators, I don't know.
That's the second generator is the one that got replaced, or
Right.
there's an old generator out there that's supposed to be going to the highway barn.
Right, so I don't believe that's hooked up to operate.
Isn't that generator going to you, Mike?
Yeah, I talked to Danny Healy, he's just supposed to come over and take a survey of all the stuff he needs, and I can get back to him again.
You don't have a generator at the highway barn?
Yeah, we got a generator.
A little one, or you got a big
This
one?
is much bigger.
This is nice.
Yeah. So if you wanna do what needs to be done to get that generator and move it over there, is that something you can do?
Well, yeah, we can move it over, I just kinda wait for Danny to
Yeah.
position it, and, I mean, if Danny doesn't get back to me, I'll
Yeah.
check somebody else. All right?
Yeah. So is everybody okay with him taking that extra generator? This is something we discussed and decided a while ago. Having him take that generator, I think you're gonna have to, whether you pour a cement pad, or I know in one case, we bought a cement pad from Jefferson Concrete. Or if you have one over there, I don't know.
So they've got a the highway department's got a generator right now, and they're gonna get rid of that and put this bigger one in, or is this other one gonna be a backup, or?
This one we got is just a little 5,000 K, and we use 2 lights and the pumps, and we switch stuff back and forth, and we use that on a job site like we do every once in a while.
Okay, so you're gonna keep both of them?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. So the one you have, Mike, it won't run the whole
It's just a
barn?
portable one.
No,
Oh, it's a
not-
portable.
It's 5K.
So in other words, it doesn't run your gas pumps and other things, that if we got in a real emergency and a
We shut the
blizzard.
lights off and other stuff, and it'll run one pump, so we just.
I think one of this size, you can just hook directly to your electrical box
Yes.
and run everything in your box.
This we set up permanent, right? There.
Yeah,
And it's just a standby generator.
okay. Next one is the sign at the entrance to the transfer site that we talked about. We were gonna put in a one-sided sign. It was suggested that we put in a two-sided sign so that you can see it coming from each direction. We originally looked at this a year and a half ago, and we were gonna put in a one-sided sign that just faced the road. I think the consensus last week was to put in a two-sided sign, which the post that we've had put in can be just all you gotta do is add a third post, and you'll have 2 signs that'll be at a V, if everybody wants to put 2 signs up, or they wanna put 1 sign up.
I think it should be 2. See from both directions.
Have you been down there? See where they've got, cause I was there this morning and seeing where the 2 signs are. I mean, honestly, it's back in far enough where I think coming from that other direction, you're not gonna see it.
Which direction?
Hammond.
I think either
Coming
direction,
from
you
him.
got, I think either direction, you gotta be looking for it, because of how far back it is, but with a state highway, I can't imagine they're gonna want it much closer to the
Well,
road.
that's, we talked about it last meeting, did you reach out to the DOT?
I haven't talked to that.
Because
no.
that's a
I
scenic.
kinda was waiting for the decision and an official.
We're not talking about a little sign, we're talking about like a 4x8.
4x8.
I mean, I would highly suggest talking to them, it's a scenic byway, and they have, even outside the highway boundary, they have authority over things like that.
Okay, so I guess,
They're probably gonna say, okay, but you still need to talk to them.
yeah.
So 1 sign with an arrow won't be sufficient, you don't think?
I mean, I'm fine, I myself am fine with 1 sign.
I would think that one,
I think for the intent of what is going on that sign, one sign is fine. If we're trying, cause people who don't go there regularly, who are coming from the other direction, if you don't know where you're going, you might miss it the first time by. I'd almost think we'd be better off getting one of those regular highway markers, you know, those green signs that say, I don't know how you go about getting them, but that say, you know, town transfer site, 2 miles ahead on the,
I mean, my thoughts
Right,
originally
right,
with this were that I thought the one-sided sign would be adequate because I didn't think that we were in the position that we're operating a business that we're trying to advertise for the business. I thought we were in the position that we have a transfer site up there, and when people go down the road and they're told where it is, they look. And right now, if you drive down that road and you're told where it is, the only thing you'll see is a four-way intersection. And you can't see any sign, you can't see anything, so you don't know, you might not know where it is. Whereas if you're looking for where is this transfer site that's supposed to be here, and you got a one-sided sign facing, you know, out to the state highway, that would work, so.
If you're not trying to catch somebody's attention with it, then a one-sided would be enough. If I remember right, it's kinda angled, like if you come in, it's kinda angled towards you, cause it's not perpendicular to the highway, it's kinda tipped.
right.
The side towards the highway is towards, Cranberry Creek a little bit.
I mean, if you need to change that angle on it, you could put a wedge on this side and not here, you know what I'm saying, if that angle isn't right. I think they angled that, I think they put that in at that angle based on the road angle that came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, where, the way I just described it, if you're looking from the highway when you're driving by, it'd be nice if it was square to you there, or perpendicular to you there.
Well, all depends on what we're trying to do with it. If we're trying to catch somebody's eye as they're going up and down 12, that'd be one thing, but if people are looking and it just confirms what they're looking for,
Yeah.
then I guess it wouldn't be a big deal, you wouldn't need two sides. The only thing I would say is, if we do whatever we do, I think the verbiage on it should be minimal, if anything at all.
I think transfer site should be extremely large.
Right, I think that should be almost all that's on there, because as soon as you get to the gate, the hours and everything are right there. So if you turn there, it says transfer site or whatever, because as you turn to go on there, in order to read a lot of stuff, somebody's gonna have to stop. And you don't want them stopping there, because you're really just confirming what it is, that they're in the right spot, right?
I think one of the things that I had put on that sign that I sent all the proofs to you guys is that something, and we could put it in another place if we don't want much writing on the sign, is the things that you cannot, that we do not take there. And when Jamie and some other people that have worked up there, they told me how many people wanted to and tried to bring things to that transfer site that we do not take. Mattresses, furniture, tires, paint cans. And I put the 4 or 5 items that I talked to those guys about, on that sign.
I think it's a good idea to have it on, I'm just questioning whether it should be that one or the one. by the gate.
I'm with Ronnie, and just, Town of Alexandria, transfer site. Another sign to tell you what you can and can't do.
On 4x8.
Yeah.
Right, but on the gate, where the gate is there, where the hours are,
Then we need to change what's on the gate and put a new sign there. Hours are written about that,
yeah,
yeah. And
And then put all-
it doesn't say the don'ts,
right.
yeah. And it doesn't say for taxpayers, or
You could have all
a
that.
permit for
I mean,
not-
put it this way, you're supposed to be slowing down
Yeah,
anyway by
yeah.
there, and if you were to actually stop there to read it,
Yeah.
you're far enough off Route 12, you're not causing any problem.
I agree, because we need to have this deal about the taxpayers
Yep,
and the non-taxpayer permit.
yep.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll do a new draft up for the 4x8 with just a few things on it. Town of Alexandria transfer site. Okay?
For the record, I didn't think you had too much on the one that you sent us. I thought that was perfect.
The one that I sent you.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I'm just concerned about somebody stopping to read it.
While we're talking about that, I'm gonna bring up something else that we talked about putting a construction dumpster up there. Jamie told me he had, the weekend that he worked there, he had about 6 people come there with construction debris. Wood and nails and some people with furniture and stuff like that. And so we had, previously, a year ago, we got a price from Waste Management about putting a construction dumpster up there. Some of the other townships around us, I believe, place that you went, Mike, was Orleans or Lafargeville had construction. Or no, that was Jay and Jamie that went there. Yeah. So we talked about that, but Ronnie brought up a good point, and I agree with him 100%, is that I don't think that the town of Alexandria should compete with a taxpayer that has a business that's 2 miles down the road that does the same thing. So one of the thoughts that I had is, how does everybody feel about having Newberry's make their own sign, as long as they're the only one in that business in our township, which I believe they are. Newberry's making their own sign for the items that we do not take, so maybe they don't get dumped on the side of the road. And tell them that, about Newberry's.
I don't know about that.
I mean, it could be open to anyone in the town of Alexandria.
Well, I'm just, like, Myron can just tell people, hey, if you have this stuff, this is, I don't think we can have a specific business sign on town property like that.
We might not be in that business, but there's high garbage removal, there's other garbage removal businesses out there, so why do we have the transfer site at all? There's, you fill, we take, there's all kinds of people that, if you're doing a construction project, you can call and get a dumpster. There's plenty of options.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we should be
And it's really
pushing anybody,
it's kind of
or,
really their.
if they come up and they ask Byron, so where do we get rid of this? Well, the closest place, since you've got it on your truck, is to go down the road to Newberry's. I think that's perfect, but to actually have a sign there for Newberry's, no.
Okay. Okay, price quotes for new signs, I talked about this a little bit earlier, I sent out 3 price quotes, I've only heard back from one company. It's been about 10 days since I sent them out. Do you wanna keep waiting, do you want me to get a hold of these companies again?
Which signs are those?
These signs we're gonna have made up, we're having signs made up, I sent you guys proofs for the brush pit and for the transfer site.
Okay, the transfer site, I think we're changing that one, right?
Right, we're changing that. But
Any
my idea, the point here is about who we get quotes from.
Well, if you asked for 3 and only got 1 response, I think we did what we needed to do as far as trying to get more and more price.
If it's a reasonable response, take it.
So you go with the person that responded.
I sent all 3 of them emails, I got the 1 quote back in a day. The second one, I got an email back in 2 days, and said they would get a quote to me this week. That was last week. I don't have a quote yet, I expect that they could probably do it this week. And the third one I haven't heard from.
Okay.
So go with the one.
You want me to wait till Friday and?
Well, we could approve the brush pit one's not changing, right?
Right.
There's a quote, there's separate quotes, right?
Yes, they're per sign, yes.
All right, I wouldn't have a problem we need to get started, get the brush pit one going.
Okay,
So wait till Friday for that second quote that comes in, if it doesn't, give it the first one.
whatever you guys want me to do, guys and gals.
Well, you're gonna revise the
I think
transfer
it's gonna be a
site.
pretty simple revision, just to say.
Right.
Town of
I don't know how
Alexandria
that would
transfer
affect
site, entrance.
pricing.
Should I put entrance?
I would think just the town of Alexandria transfer site with an arrow ought to do it,
Is what?
with an arrow.
Yeah, there we go.
How do you do an arrow on the road, facing the road straight up?
Turn on the Alexandria.
Or would you like us
You
to,
do like a big
or would you like us to have
comment,
somebody build us an arrow and we can attach to it?
No, I mean with a red arrow on the sign this way. Then a stop sign says, this is what you dump.
So now we're into a 3D sign?
Yeah, okay. Well, lights flashing for night work, yeah. Neon lights, like a bar.
Okay, I'll put something together and send it to everybody.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the, quote on the brush pit signs.
Motion by Ron,
I'll second that.
second by John, any further discussion?
Can we put the price on there? we should say what the price is, do you have that?
Per the quote that I sent you. Cause those prices were on there. I can't remember.
I don't remember them.
I can't
Does anybody remember them?
I mean, I can go on my phone and find the quote.
Sorry, I just do think it should
Everybody
be a
probably
minute.
And who they are.
Doesn't matter.
His name is Stewart.
No, you're right, and who the low bidder was.
Yeah, and who the person you're going with is.
Yep. It's just like put bids out for fuel, I mean, all that kind of stuff, we do exactly the same thing.
Did you send this out?
The two brush pit signs are $175 a piece, $350. They were fairly large. They're 4 foot by 4 foot. Which I actually think that's larger than I had asked, because I had asked for 36 inches, because the poles that we're attaching them to are 30 inches apart.
There's 2 poles on each block of concrete.
And they're 30 inches apart.
Right.
Well, before work, right, you'd be 6 inches over each end.
You really think that sign had too much stuff on it?
I'm just thinking how far, if you're coming off at 55 miles an hour, going like 40 by the time
If
you
you're
come around.
if you're going 40 going up that road, you're going way too fast. You should be down to 20 when you're turning off that road. I wanna see you go 55 when you turn that corner.
What road are you on?
Going into
She's
the
at
dump.
the transfer site.
And you're not gonna be
He's at the
going
brush
that,
pit.
I think this is a great sign. Did you guys see it? All right. Pass it. Tell me if anybody else.
It's got a lot of writing on it.
I don't think it's got that much writing. I mean, it says, it's got 5 lines.
Well, they can read it when they get off the road.
I mean, you slowed down.
You can't see it, yeah, I mean, it gives everything on
I
there.
could see
It's
Town of
like-
Alexandria transfer site with the hours on the bottom of it.
At
On a
least,
4 by 8, you got it, it's gonna be big.
now then you're gonna want another sign.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have another one at the gate, no question. I'll send you all some proofs tomorrow, okay?
If you wanna make the motion and then just give me the information tomorrow, I can
Yep.
add it in there. Just
Yep.
take that when you're doing the motion, so that I'll get the information tomorrow.
Okay. So we've got a motion and a second.
We're going with Stewart sign in a parallel Cape Vincent.
This is for the brush pit,
This is for the brush pit.
4 foot by 4 foot.
Yeah.
And the only response you got was from Stewart.
Right.
No, I got the response from the other one, they said they'd give me a quote this week.
Well, then wait till Friday.
Huh?
This week ends Friday, right?
Yep.
So we don't know what the value is gonna be, and we don't yet know who the
I mean,
provider.
if you want, I'll just handle it all by email to everybody and wait till Friday and you all can make the decision via email on over the weekend.
I think because we didn't put a date that we had to receive the bid, that probably this guy called, we gotta wait till Friday. And then that's it.
I guess I was used to dealing with the other people that give me a price within a couple of days.
I know, but that doesn't happen much, does it?
It's a busy time of year.
So we already stated what the one bid is.
All right.
I don't know if we have or not.
I just said it's
Yeah, we just
175
did.
to 4 foot,
Okay.
by 4 foot, but I'm not, that might be a little bit large for those posts. I had asked for 36 inches.
Right. Well, you get 9 inches on each side, that's not that bad.
48, 36, yeah.
You said 30 inches, right? where you say you got 18 inches,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
9 on each side, I wouldn't think that'd be, as
Yeah.
far as being able to fold or anything like that. No, I just wondered, because if I'm doing a bid and my number gets out there, and then somebody else has got till Friday to come up with their number.
Yeah, good point.
Well, she's always already let the cat out of the bag, take the bid.
Very good point. Mike, you've been down to the dump, you've seen those concrete with the poles coming out of them? Do you see a problem with the sign that's gonna be on top of those sticking out a little bit? Well,
There's a lot of wind down there.
But the concrete itself, the size of that concrete is, I think that concrete's 4 feet.
Oh, it won't blow that over.
So, obviously, I don't think we want it sticking out beyond the concrete. Because then somebody's gonna hit it, or somebody could hit it.
Did you check McQuaid and Bannigan in Watertown?
The what?
McQuaid and Bannigan or the county barn? You buy those signs from the county bid? Yeah. Pretty cheap.
Okay, so where are we at? I'm looking at you.
I'm glad we're not buying a $500,000 truck.
Yeah, really.
It'll be a couple of years. If you think they're too big,
Well, no, I think with, after, they're okay, yeah, I think we're okay. Yep, so we got a motion to accept those prices on those, so I'll get those ordered.
and then the other two guys have still got a chance to
Yeah.
bid
on
on
the bid one.
the transfer site
And we
side.
haven't talked about the price on that yet, so.
There we go.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, so, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? None. Drew decision on the EDUs on that house in Redwood. I thought, we did have this on the agenda.
We did, talked about this very extensively, probably a couple of months ago at least.
Yeah, Jesse got the minutes today, and the minutes don't say what our decision was. They say that it was on the agenda what our discussion was, but I don't, for some reason, I thought our decision was, well, I guess we gotta read the letter here, what she's saying. And I think what she's saying is that the house in back was a residence that we were charging, what, 1 EDU for? And she's changing it to a garage. How many EDUs for a garage?
None.
Huh?
None.
A garage with what?
Back up a little bit. If they receive no service at all, well, and if it's just a garage too, it'd be like having a detached garage at your house. You wouldn't get charged anything extra for that, even if you had water over to it.
So they have water and sewer to the apartment that is
They have an
changing to a
apartment there
garage.
now. And until, I mean, the way we left it last time, until it changes, it is what it is.
Yeah,
And the person to talk to is Norris Hanshoe, our zoning enforcement officer. When they make this change, have him go on, look out there, verify that it is no longer an apartment, and away we go.
and who is responsible for disconnecting water and sewer?
It would be the
And is there a
property
separate
owner.
water meter on that garage?
Well, I would think we would want the water meter, but I mean, but it's really up to the property owner.
Yep. Okay, so if you'll give me permission to have Norris go check it out. And the lady called me today about this and wondered where we stood.
You know, we have
And
no way
so
of
I'm gonna
knowing
say
what-
that our decision is that we will take the EDU away from the apartment in back that's being changed to a garage when we're able to go verify that it's a garage.
Right.
Is that right? I think that's what we discussed last time.
It's what it is until it's no longer that.
You're going through that letter, Ronnie, is that basically what she's saying? She's turning that residence into a garage?
I was looking at the timeline, I was reading something different.
During that time, I think I recall that it was more that they sent it in as a grievance form to change the EDUs.
Yep.
Remember, that was
Yes.
the whole conversation?
Yes, you're right.
Okay, and then at that point, you had stated to have zoning take a look at it in the meantime, someone was going to contact them to let them know that that's either how the grievance, form has to be done. I know Mike talked extensively in regards to that. I just summed it up in the fact that zoning was you were gonna give the information to zoning.
Yep.
And then it was gonna be followed up with someone to contact them and then move forward with the grievance form.
Yeah.
I think
Because-
that's basically where it actually in a nutshell lies,
I mean, all
because
we're
there was
getting from
nothing
them
that you
is
guys
like
could
their
do.
future plan is for this apartment to no longer
Right.
be an apartment.
Right, but we understand the future, it's just that someone
Until
needs
that
to
happens,
verify,
it's still an
someone needs to
apartment.
verify it. I think that's actually how it all ended up
Okay.
going.
You see anything else in there, Ron?
No, I'm just looking at the timeline when this first cover letter here, or the grievance form, because it talks about when they bought it from the bank, and then, the fact that they talked to the assessor, and then when they got their town and county tax bill, it had unpaid water and unpaid sewer on there. And that they didn't the water was shut off prior to their buying it, and they talked, again, I'm not sure why the assessor was involved, but they talked to the assessor about not turning the water back on until the pipes were repaired. And they didn't realize that there would be water bills incurred and sewer bills incurred, even though they were not connected to the water.
They're connected, they have a meter.
They're connected, but they just,
So they have account, but you can have no use,
right, no,
but
I,
you still
yeah,
get debt service. And that's what she's saying, she doesn't wanna pay.
well,
Not only that, but she's also saying that the house up front that I think we had as an apartment, or 2 apartments, or the property, we have it as 3 units, a duplex house and an apartment building. That's how we have it, okay? She wants the house up front changed to a single-family residence, and the deal in the back changed to a garage, which would be 0. So, I think as Jesse just said, we need the zoning to verify the single-family residence, and we need them to verify the garage. And then that would change from 3 EDUs.
It's, for apartments, it's
2.75.
3/4, and then, so that's 1.5, so 2 times 3/4.
2.5.
Plus the apartment out back is 1, so it'll be 2.5 EDUs.
2.5 total, so
Right.
it would be changed to 1,
Correct.
if everything's verified that she's doing or has done what she's saying.
Yep. I mean, all the plumbing needs to be removed, the additional water meter can't be there anymore, it'll go from 3 water meters to 1 water meter, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I
so
think
there's 3 water meters there right now?
I'm not so sure
I
about
believe
that.
there is. I believe there's one connecting it to the back, and then 2 inside because being a duplex.
Alright,
Okay, and then,
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
if I
So I need
remember
a-
correctly.
I need a motion, so we've got this time that so I can get a hold of her and tell her that we're gonna do a motion to change it from 2.5 EDUs to 1 EDU.
She needs to talk to Norris Hanshu.
Yeah, she has to
Norris
get
Hanshu needs to go
Upon, no,
out
I'm
there.
saying
That's-
this motion
that's
is
what
upon
needs-
verification.
Yeah, don't, all the 2.5 and all those EDU changes, that needs to happen.
right, we shouldn't be
Then we
involved in
talk
that.
about that.
Right,
Right.
we normally wouldn't be involved in that. I'm saying that's Norris's deal.
Well, Norris
No.
would let billing know that we have a change.
So
Larson doesn't
normal-
get involved with EDUs, but he does get involved with changing the use of the building.
Right, that's
like
what
you're
I meant, was
saying.
the, yeah,
Yeah.
to
Or
verify.
have Jamie and Norris go
Right.
out and take a look at it, because Jamie is well aware of the situation, because the reason why they shut the water off at Henderson was because the water was streaming down the
Right.
walls.
But
That was
it'd
a
be-
lot of the reason.
But it'd be, okay, let's just say somebody wants to build a house along Route 26. They would get a building permit from Norris Hanshu, they would build the house, and they would connect it up to the water, and he would, through his position as a zoning enforcement officer, he would let Jamie know, Jamie would let billing know, now we got a new customer. This is just going the reverse direction.
So they have to come and get a permit, right? They get a permit to do what they're gonna do.
There you go.
The same thing back in the car still. We don't want to happen again anyway.
But do
When they wanna make it an apartment house, they gotta go get a permit.
Do they get a permit if they're taking out their water mains? I mean,
I don't know.
I
Well,
don't think so.
when it's no longer gonna be an apartment,
I mean, well, I don't know. That
I mean,
would be up to Norris.
yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I don't think that they have to let him know that, do they?
Well,
I think that they'd have to let county know what's, I think,
Well,
what
I don't know if
they're
you
doing
need a
inside.
building permit to extensively do work on a house to change it.
I don't, on the inside, I don't know.
I don't know.
A lot
I
of
think the
times,
outside.
a lot of times that permit triggers everything else.
That's what I keep
So we
coming back
take it
to.
from
Yeah.
a duplex to a single.
But again, that's who, talk to Norris, if Norris says that's what you need to do, then that's what you do.
Right, because we don't tell Jamie to go grab 2 water meters. We don't get involved with that. That's what I meant by,
Yeah.
we don't usually get involved in that.
Right. So where are we at?
You need to
We'll just go
let her
through,
know to talk to Norris and we'll just go that route.
okay.
Or give these 2 grievance things to Norris and say, go with Jamie, go check and see, has Jamie pulled 2 meters? Has this gone from a residential to a single family?
Doesn't this usually go in front of a committee?
Well,
Isn't there?
I honestly, I wouldn't think so, because if they're buying this and they're going to eventually move there, or they're buying it to flip or whatever, if they're just going in and doing work like I did with this house that I just bought here in the Bay, I didn't get any permits.
So this is
No.
not what this form is usually used for.
But that, you make a good point. In the past, we had a Redwood, and we still do, Redwood Sewer Committee, but this is includes water, which we have no committee at all.
But one of the things that we said during that meeting was that people are supposed to be filling out these grievance forms.
Yes.
So she's filled out the form, and we know what she wants, so now it is a Jamie and Norris. Have you pulled the things, have they changed this so that it's only a 1 meter thing, and Norris, Norris concurs? And once they've done that, then we can change the EDUs.
If you make a single dwelling house into 2 apartments, you have to have a permit, right? That way we know to charge you for 2 apartments. So if it's gonna go the other way, you should have to get a permit, right? And that ends it.
I don't think it necessarily needs a permit, but when she wants to change this, she is doing exactly what we asked. You fill out the grievance form, and now we just need to verify through the water people and zoning that it was indeed, it has gone to a single family 4-bedroom home with 2 full beds, which is what she's saying. And if it hasn't been done and it's not completed, then it will remain as is until it is completed.
Okay. So I guess we're not gonna do a motion or anything, we're just gonna have Jamie and Norris check it out.
Yep.
Everybody okay with that? Yeah. Okay. And the last item I have is, the Highway Superintendent Road Project. I think everybody's got a copy of this. Yeah. And I'll just read my initial letter I've attached to Highway Superintendent's 5 road projects for 2020 that he is proposing. The total dollars is $138,593.78. The total CHIPS money available is $224,900, of which we are told the governor can take 20%, or $44,980, leaving us with approximately $179,920. So, he's given us the 5 roads that he wants to do. One of the roads is a reclamation project for $76,000, that's the Scribby Road, right, Mike? Which that process is, they grind that road up, and they recycle it and add oil to it and a bunch of other things.
What we're gonna do is go down and cut all the brush, cut the shoulders off, so everything's sloped. We're gonna put the pipes in that need to be put in, there's one that we know of, and then we'll grind it and add 2 inches of crushed gravel with it. And then we'll pound it down real hard, we'll spray it with calcium, which makes it even more stable, magnesium chloride. And then we'll wait till September or whatever to.
Yep. That's that road. The next one is the Speeds Road, and that is a double surface treatment for $36,912, and that is a distance of 7,200 feet times the width of the road, which is 16. The next one is the Newman Road, which is $10,717, which is 3,600 feet long by 15 feet wide, and that's a single surface. The Snyder Road is a single surface that's 3,000 feet long by 15 feet for $9,197, and the last one is the Berry Road, 1,250 feet by 16 for $5,042, and that's a single surface treatment. And Mike, if you could just briefly explain the difference between a single surface and a double surface so everybody knows.
Well, downstate, they, instead of using 1As for single surface treatment on the roads that are deteriorating, they're starting to use 1s, not STs, just a plain 1, and, it doesn't fall off, and they flood it with more oil, so it actually covers most of the stone, and from what I'm hearing, it's really working nice, so we're gonna try it, and
Is number one the size of the stone?
Yeah.
Is that what that, okay.
stuff like the end of your
Just
finger.
wondered, okay.
The 1As are considerably smaller. Speed Road, we're gonna shoot it with 1s, extra oil, and then we're gonna go right back over it the same day with 1As on top of it, which chinks it in and makes a decent road.
I think the real purpose here, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, is that these roads they're old and they have cracks in them and they have voids in them and the water's getting down into the road.
Yes,
And the real purpose here is to put this oil and stone on to seal the roads,
yes.
to keep the weather and the water and the ice from going down in the road and doing further damage.
We'll patch anything that we need to patch first. You know, I would really like to crack seal them, but it's so expensive to do. And flooding it with extra oil should take care of it for us.
And the end product on the Scribby Road is a single surface treatment on the top.
It'll be just exactly like Kings Point and Bailey South.
The Newman Road and Speed Road were milling, weren't they, Mike?
No, they were 59W back when Dave put them in, and he surface treated them. Actually, he used, on one of them, he used, micropaving, and it's real hard, it's made of concrete, and if you go down and look at it, it flakes and flakes.
It's been since then, because many years ago, we got millings from Kurt Flick that came off 81 and did both the Speed Road and Newman Road out of them, which was a cheap road.
Yeah, yep, I remember that, and I think they did Schlepp Road.
Something been done to them since then?
Excuse me, yeah.
And you said they've done something to them since then?
Yeah, when Dave was here back years ago, we cut the shoulders and took care of them, and we put 59W on them.
I think George is the superintendent's right, he also got something done to him since then, right? So you're just trying to save these roads, right?
Basically, yep.
Anybody have any other questions? I think one of the things that I had mentioned to the board is I thought that board members, might wanna drive around a little bit and take a look at some other roads, and maybe Mike could give us a list of what roads he thinks are in need of repair besides these 5 that we're talking here. Whether we're talking about some roads in Redwood, or whether we're talking about wherever it may be, whether we're talking about hot mix blacktop or surface treatment. And we'll see where we're at with money and where we're at with this, everything that's going on, and see if we can do any more.
I'd be more than glad to take a ride with somebody if they wanna go with their road.
So the way I read this, we got like $40,000 left,
Well, yeah,
138, what you want, and then, leaves us with 179.
I mean, that's if he takes the 20%.
Yeah.
if the governor doesn't touch it, then I don't have a problem with a little rollover, a little cushion either, gentlemen. Cause we don't lose the money.
That would be the smart thing.
That'll give us a buffer for next year.
I mean, I kinda had some thoughts myself of maybe getting some money from someplace else, whether it be a fund balance or something. And that is, of course, looking at what the fund balances are, and maybe doing a little bit more road work, but the fact that we're in COVID-19 and the fact that we're getting hit with a sales tax drop, that funds 43% of Mike's budget.
I just put in a couple of UFPOs down on Bailey South, we're gonna cut a bunch of shoulders down there that need cutting. And, you know, I talked about starting putting pipes in on number 6 road. We've got the pipe, we've got the manpower, just extra stone, we could start doing that, the pipes that need to be replaced. And, I mean, we got stuff that we can do and not expend a lot of money to do it.
I mean, I have people call me and ask me questions about certain roads, and this is terrible and that's terrible, and I'm sure a few of you others hadn't heard about different stuff, so I'm just saying that we just ought to be looking ahead a little bit, and if it's something that we can afford and do, we do it. If it's not, then we put it off to next year. Put it on. Do you have a priority list for next year?
I kinda got all balled up with this sickness. Yeah, I was gonna do Gore Road, Scribby Road, and then I was gonna start putting pipes in number 6 road and do that next year. But we just don't have the time to do all that now.
Yep.
I mean, let's get these roads done that we got. Hopefully we get them done, because we gotta start hauling some sand, we got other things to do, and if we've got time, let's sit down and talk about putting some pipes in here
You gotta start hauling sand?
pretty soon, as soon as I get some trucks.
Yeah. What's the schedule on the new truck?
It's setting out the beam back, they're just trying to get plates for it.
Once you get places, is it ready to go?
We really didn't wanna put that on the road and get it real dirty, because that's all gotta be fabricated underneath for the sander.
What's the situation on 228 and the $6,000 repair?
They haven't called me, they ordered the parts, they were gonna start working on it today, and I get an update every so often from them on
What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it?
It's an exhaust thing, emissions. It's been baked out several times, and when you bake them out, you burn the precious metals inside the muffler itself, and it's just.
Regen.
Yeah, it just can't do it anymore.
It's a regen process.
Well, they bake them, they take them to
Exactly
Syracuse,
what it
they
is.
bake them, and then, yeah, you're right, it does regen, but they
It's
take
a
that.
regen process, whether you're done, do it properly or not. That's what it is.
I mean, I had a discussion with the technical guy from Walters yesterday when I was at the highway barn, and we got the same similar problem with our brand new $110,000 tractor. And he told me that all of his tractors in the last year to 2 years at the most have got this problem. And it's a serious problem. And actually, Mike, I hadn't talked to you after I talked to him, but I know you said this the other day, that we might want to think about sending that tractor back. And
I'd put it tougher than that.
if we can get our money back on that thing, he did not talk positively at all about it. Except for the fact that we should have bought a Massey Ferguson.
Yeah, and if we'd have known there was this many troubles with them, obviously we wouldn't have bought it, we wouldn't even tried to buy it. New Holland for years was a good tractor.
Yep.
And he said that, but he
Yeah.
said, you know, they were down there all day, tried to fix it, and we're running it, and I guess we gotta play, I asked the guy, I said, listen,
I mean, this is the
we're
second
gonna
time,
buy this back.
this is the second time in 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yes.
And
now,
it's down, when that happens, it's down, you can't use it.
there's no power, you have to try to limp it off the side of the road and you're done.
How old is it?
Brand new, brand new.
So can we give it back?
That's what I just said. I think we ought to,
We're working on it.
my opinion is we ought to give it back and say
Yeah.
we want all of our money back.
Yep. It must be under some kind of warranty. I
Oh, it is, but what are we gonna
And
do? They just keep coming. The tractor sits still for 4 or 5 days, he comes, and he actually told me, and Mike, you were standing right there. He said, the engineering, the design, the deal here is no good.
It's not gonna get any better,
He
no
said,
matter how often they fix it.
he said, I have this problem all over with these
Mr.
tractors.
Keys, come get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think they wanna sell us another one someday? I'd throw that at them.
Yeah.
Well, talk to the welders and see what they
I
have.
mean, I know Marcus and another guy out there, I know a couple of the owners, so I'll have no problem giving them a call.
Okay, give them a call, we'll go and talk to them, see what they say. I mean, he said them Massey's are just, and we didn't know, you know. The New Holland we've got is a great piece of equipment, not a minute's trouble with it.
How about the all the attachments we bought for that, will they go on a Massey?
But you can transfer anything over. Yeah.
Okay, I'll call them.
It's got a 5-year warranty set on it, and I said, listen, we're not gonna go through this, cause we aren't getting anything done, you know.
That was what, 110,000, wasn't it?
I believe it was.
And that's just the tractor without the attachments.
Oh, no, I think it was all together, wasn't it, Brent?
Yeah. Okay. Anybody have anything else?
You guys don't have a problem if we decide to push it back, get rid of it, a little bit of muscle if we need it?
No, go ahead.
No, if you're having this much trouble and we just got them,
Yeah, we are.
it's a lemon.
And
Let's use the lemon law and get rid of it.
And it doesn't seem like it's the entire model. Yeah.
The
Yeah,
lemon
it's
law
the whole
doesn't apply
line.
to commercial use.
I was thinking that.
Oh, well, I tried. We still don't want it. If it's not gonna work, we don't want it.
We'll make some, go out and see him or make some phone calls.
I think the technical term is you reject acceptance.
Sure, reject acceptance.
Only thing I can say about those 5 road jobs and that money, Mike, is you better spend it before Mr. Como takes it.
We want to.
Because he definitely has said that he can and he will if he needs it.
I know.
And after the sales tax webinar that went on today, I think the general feeling from that, from the state of New York, was they're gonna be getting monies from all kinds of places for these new funds and these new things that they're creating for the hospitals and for the nursing homes.
They've got the power to do it, after what we heard this morning. It was in the, I can't remember what part of the government, but they were empowered to withhold 20%. And they mentioned that the cities, and Bob confirmed it, that Watertown had 900,000 withheld.
State aid.
Yeah.
So on this deal they talk about today, they're creating a new fund for the hospitals and the nursing homes. And they have budgeted 50 million.
50 million this year and next year.
And this year, they're doing this at August 1st, today, $50 million, and they're gonna get that $50 million from the sales tax proceeds that go to every one of the communities.
All the counties or the communities.
And it's gonna be,
They used Albany County as an example, and Albany County, what they do is they take Albany County's, sales tax collections for the year, and then divide it by the total $8.5 billion that, New York State collects over the course of the year, and that gives you a percentage. And so, and they use that percentage against the 50 million, so Albany County was gonna be just under 1.7 million. And what the state's gonna do is, they're not gonna bill them for it, they just keep it.
They don't send it to them.
Right, because the state gets the money and then they pass it on. So like with Albany County, it was gonna cost Albany County $1.7 million.
Right, so what the communities get is what the county has worked out for the communities.
Right.
So like the city gets the first 24%, then the other 76% gets split, your numerators, your assessed value in your town,
Right.
and the denominators, the assessed value with the remaining.
all tied to the assessment is how you get the percentage.
Yeah, Jefferson County, is 46, 47, the city's like 24,
24.
and the rest gets split up among the towns and villages according to their,
Now, understand the county can change that because the first thing in the law says the county takes what it needs,
right.
and the rest is distributed, so.
Well, it was interesting because they had a map of the state of New York, and the 3 top counties for sharing, they call it, are Monroe County, which is Rochester, city of Rochester. Jefferson County was number 2, and I can't remember who number 3 was, but they had it's a voluntary thing. And it was interesting because before, that was dictated by the county board of supervisors, before we had the legislature. So every one of those supervisors also had another hat they wore, which was town supervisor.
Right.
And so to change that, they were also taking money, I mean, they were in a real catbird seat there because whatever they take from the county, they're taking away from their township. So it'll be interesting now, we have 15, obviously, people that make that decision. And we would certainly hope they wouldn't change that formula, one would hope.
Right. Well, they've got county DSS expenses and everything else
Yeah.
hanging over their heads, you know?
Well, it was like the AIM money, the aid, whatever municipalities or AIM money. They mentioned that I think it was a year or 2 years ago, if that AIM money was more than 2% of your income, it put you into one classification. If it was less than 2% of your income, it went to a different classification. And it was a one-time deal. It isn't like that 2% was gonna be calculated every year. It's a one-time deal, and going forward, anybody that the AIM money was more than 2%, the state of New York funds that. Anything less than the 2%, you're in a different category, and that's funded with sales tax dollars.
Right.
So.
It used to be straight money.
Right.
And then they took that back and they said, well, we're not actually taking it back, it's coming from this one over here instead.
Right, which is the same as pushing the burden down to the county and town level.
That's exactly what happened.
Because the pot shrinks, because that funding, which used to come from the state of New York, is now coming from sales tax.
Right.
Well, where would it usually end up? It would end up with the county, the city, and the local municipalities, and they're grabbing that first.
Yep.
I had one other thing, you'd asked me to look into parking regulations in your parking lot. You know, with the trailers would be parked in the
Yeah.
parking lot.
Yep.
Yeah, you can adopt an ordinance that would impose fines for excessive parking there, okay? And you can have your codes enforcement officer be the person who writes the tickets, and they can be returnable in your local justice.
They don't have to be law enforcement?
No, they don't, no,
Okay.
I looked into that, in fact, I found a couple of ordinances, one from the town of Van Buren and one from, I guess, different town, where they do it. So, I've got some copies of their ordinances.
So the CEO can write a ticket.
Well, that's my question, is we keep interchanging terms. Zoning enforcement officer is different than codes enforcement
Right.
officer, so which is he? I think he's just a zoning enforcement officer. But
I don't think we have a code enforcement officer.
But if you look in our, you know, that Republican book that gives it the phone numbers of everybody, we call him a code enforcement officer, so I don't know which he is.
You guys just give me the permission to write those tickets, I'll write them. We can't get down there to do any brushing or weed eating or anything, so the vehicles down there.
You are an officer of the town, that might be something we could look at.
I'd be glad to write them for you. Be glad to.
And if you wanted, you could even have them towed. Okay, I mean, they're vehicles, and you can control the vehicles in your public spaces, and you can control the parking of vehicles in your public spaces.
Towing would really get their attention.
You know,
We're down to
it gets nasty.
7 trailers.
Down to 7 now?
Yeah, I've probably had 4 or 5 phone calls from owners. And one phone call, I gotta bring it up tonight, I thought he had a good point. I had thought earlier about the 48-hour deal being short when it comes to holiday weekends and different things. And people that go out on the river, or go to a camp, or go to a hotel, or whatever they do, is that, he said, well, most people vacation, that come up here on vacation, come here for a week, to take a week vacation. So he's talking about us lengthening that 48 to 7 days. One of the things I thought about this last year, was making that 48/72 for 3 days, for a full weekend. I mean, if somebody comes on a Friday and they don't leave till, you'd like to stretch it over to Monday, you know, you got Friday, you got to Saturday, to Sunday, to Monday, so 72.
If they're coming up for a week, where are they staying?
A lot of people can't.
Wouldn't you think there would be
I mean, look at your
site for things like that?
Look at your state parks, you know,
Yeah.
I mean.
Put your boat trailer over where you're camping.
Yeah.
Well, if they're, I guess we need to decide what is the intent of that parking lot. We want that to be a long-term parking lot for a week at a time. I mean,
A week might be a little long.
I'm just saying,
I don't know, what's everybody
they're
else's
renting a
opinion?
cottage or some freaking thing, obviously there's a spot to park their car and their boat trailer, they got one.
I mean, what's going on with the people that are in violation right now is the majority, this is my opinion, I don't know, Mike, maybe you have an idea, or somebody else, but my opinion is these people that are leaving their trailers there are people who live in the Goose Bay area, that have houses, cottages, and camps, and they have their boat for the summer, or boats, because the gentleman who's called me 3 times has 2 boats, and they put their boats in for the summer, and they don't like mowing along around their trailers in their yard. And they have a place up that we have provided that they're taking those trailers to for summer.
And that's what I'm getting at, what is the intent
Yeah.
of that parking lot? And that's not the intent of that parking lot.
No,
Are we gonna enlarge that parking lot though?
double the
It is,
size.
right?
I mean, that might accommodate, I mean, we might be in a position where we don't have to quite so fussy.
Yeah,
Most of us here have a boat, and it's real important to have a trailer that covers that boat. And a trailer's wicked important, but once you put that boat in the water, especially if you're gonna dock it for the summer, then now you just wanna hide that trailer somewhere. And that's different than launching your boat, you're here for the weekend, fishing and all that kind of stuff, and then you're gonna go away. It's two different deals here.
so the Goose Bay people talked to me last year about this when we were dealing with this situation, and we were getting the trailers out of there that had been then left there. And they said it'd be nice if you could create an area that was for the locals to put their trailers. And one of the comments I got immediately back, and it might have been from a board member, was that if you're gonna do that for them, you better do that for other.
I was gonna say St. Lawrence Park, Point Vivian, Hillside.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of places where people would love to be able to store their trailer on town property.
This kind of falls into the Royce Newberry construction debris. We have businesses that have those kind of places.
Which I'm actually one of them. I charge people
There you go.
$50
So we're
to
gonna
leave their
compete
trailer at
against
my
that.
place for the summer, or $100 inside.
You wanna put a sign down there?
No, we can't, it'd be wrong for us to compete against private business.
Well, again, what's the intent? My impression all along has been the intent of that was for somebody coming up for the weekend, or
Right.
coming in the middle of the week, for a couple days, and that's all.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
And by virtue of that, they don't necessarily own a place up here,
Right,
so they don't have a place to put the trailer in.
right.
Is there a sign down there that's saying 70 parking only? All of it?
48 right now.
So, I guess you have to.
It says 48 hours right now, right?
Stands.
That's reasonable. A week, that's somebody saying, I'm coming up to spend some significant time, and I'm bringing my boat, so you kinda should think, what am I gonna do with the trailer once I put it in the water? You know, and then, that's all part of it.
Mike, is it you or is it Steve Jarvis or who is it that's talked to me about the fact that they wanna make the area at the trail, at the trail, the golf course walking trail? At the head of that trail is a huge area that's unused,
Yeah.
where you pull into that. Talk about making that an area for trailers. Cause right now, when people come and stay at hotels and motels and stuff in the village, the only place that we say and that they say that they can put boats or trailers and their, I guess some of their vehicles, is at the rink.
Right,
Yep.
yeah.
And we've done that for years.
Yep.
But that gets filled up like. So
But again,
that,
that's all short term, they're not there for the whole summer.
yeah,
Right.
Brent,
so that's another thought, that we do have a big area down there, you know.
Brent, we spent a lot of time down in Carnegie Bay. We made a big parking lot down in there a few years ago.
I think that's the one he's talking about.
Yeah, that's what I was
Big
just
parking
talking,
lot,
Yeah.
gravel,
Yeah.
down in there.
that's what I was talking about.
You go down towards Iroquois Island, before you get there on the right-hand side where that trail is.
It's got a sign where you go into it.
Is there actually a trail there?
Yes.
A walking trail.
Yes.
We mow it.
Yeah.
Okay,
We never used to mow it or take care of it, and we started mowing it 2 years ago. And I got a bunch of compliments about Carnegie Bay people that walk and use that trail. I haven't checked, but it is on Jay and Jamie's list.
okay, I just wondered, because my dad ended up keeping his trailer down there right before you go to Iroquois Island. And he went and walked up there, and he said, what, because I said to him one day, I said, you wanna go walk that trail, there's some sort of trail there. And he went, and he said, it's a big parking lot. He said, I didn't see any trail whatsoever. He
It's
said,
kinda muddy in the spring, but.
No, this was just within the last month.
There's a decent trail there.
I'll have to check
And
with
he
him.
couldn't find the trail.
Yeah.
He was like, it kind of appeared like it was a big parking lot back here.
Yeah, there's not, you know, the signage is out by the road, and it calls, names it some type of a trail. But you're right, when you drive in there, you kinda, unless you know where you're going or what you're looking for, the trail takes off to the right as you drive in. It goes to the right towards the golf course.
Yeah.
And it's 6 feet wide, maybe 8 feet wide. Mike, have you been on it on the track?
We've mowed it with a tractor before.
They mow it with a brush hog in the spring when it was really, it was rough, because I know Jay and Jamie went there with the mowers, and they said, no, we gotta have a brush hog first.
Yeah, we did. One time, I can't remember, last year maybe, I don't remember.
Okay, that's all I got. Anybody else? We got a work session which we don't have to adjourn to. We can adjourn this meeting completely, close the meeting, right? Take a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, does notification for the next meeting on the 12th, just because we're talking about it now, does that satisfy that special meeting?
It's not a special meeting, it's a work session.
It's a work session.
Okay, so.
Work session makes it.
Well, you can't make any decisions at a work session, you can't vote on anything. at a work
Oh,
session.
okay, so that's.
It's open to the public.
That's the key.
Right, that's the key.
So you can have a work session.
It's open to the public, so we'll have.
It's open to the
system.
public, but there's no public comment, there's no go to the floor, you can't move to do anything, you're just talking.
Okay.
Which brings up a whole other point here, and that is opening these meetings up to the public.
And we were talking about it while you were outside.
Yep.
We just did.
He just, yep.
Thank you.
What are we gonna do?
There's no reason to not open it up. I mean, so long
So-
as we stagger the chairs every 6 feet, they can be
Put the
behind
chairs 6 feet apart?
Yeah,
Just move this whole thing either that way or that way to create some space and get some chairs.
yeah. Cause I actually, before we seen you walking out there, I had said, you know, when can people start coming if they want to? I mean, this is great.
Yeah.
And I don't ever wanna get rid of this, but, you know, I'd like to see people again after being quarantined for 2 weeks.
That's why I'm here. I need to get out of my house.
That's when you know it's bad.
So,
Bob said Watertown just had their first,
I saw that they did.
yeah.
And I saw that they announced that, but I was hesitant because I was waiting for Sandy to come out of quarantine and
We have
Come out of hiding.
Snyder's guy and everything. You know,
I'll make that motion you were looking for.
Okay, motion by Ron, second by John, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Thank you.
You gotta get the